Hello everyone, welcome to my Ramadan 2021 bulk food prep. I'm going to show you guys everything that I've made with recipes from scratch to prepare for Ramadan, and the things I'm making is only to last us for around 2 weeks, and mainly main meals for my little ones because it's just going to be us two fasting, myself and my husband. My little ones will most definitely not be fasting. They are aged 7 and 2, so some of the things I'm preparing is for them so that I don't have to cook for the first week or so, and I just know that I have something to give them, especially getting back into fasting. I definitely won't want to be in the kitchen cooking 2 separate meals because I always want something different when I'm fasting. So the first thing that I'm going to be making is some peanut butter chicken curry because my kids love this, and I know that this is definitely something they eat even though they are quite fussy eaters. So all I've done is wash the chicken, then cut it up in small bite-sized pieces with my scissors, as you can see. And don't worry, I will be sanitizing this whole thing once I have finished because I definitely wash my chicken. I have to. Don't know about you guys. I will wash my hands thoroughly, as you can see, and then I'll just spray the area with some disinfectant spray. For the second lot of chicken, I have washed and cut up 2 lots of chicken tenders, and the second lot I'm just going to put some cling film on top of it, and this is just so I can bash it and flatten it into steak almost. And once that is done, and then I pierce all of the chicken with a fork so that when I come to marinate it, all the spices get into the chicken really nicely and it becomes really flavorful. I find that when I do this technique, the chicken comes out so flavorful, so definitely try it if you haven't tried it before. And I use that paper towel just to dry out the chicken. So once I have finished putting my chicken in the bowl, I'll just spray the area, leave it to sit for 5 minutes, and then wipe it. And here I'm just chopping up some onions for my peanut butter chicken curry. I like to chop up a lot of onions and then end up using that for separate dishes. So I'm using this for maybe 2 dishes. So here are some roasted garlic that my husband has made, and I love that stuff. Honestly, it tastes so much better than raw garlic. So here I've just used some of the onion to make some lasagna sauce. And we have a little helper. Anytime Liana sees us making anything, she will want to come and help, which is so cute. Honestly, she doesn't let you do anything without a bit of help from her. So here I've got another pan going, and I'm going to use the remaining bits of onion for the peanut butter chicken curry, and I've used some, as you can see, for the lasagna sauce, which I think my husband's going to make, which is always a help. And here I'm using the roasted garlic that we just squashed up in the pestle and mortar for the lasagna, and I've just got onions, a bit of olive oil and the garlic, mixing it all up. I'm pretty sure I've shown you guys how I make my lasagna a few times now, but here it is if you forgot. I've just got the lamb plus beef mince in here, and we're just breaking it up into tiny pieces, and these are the spices that we're using: some black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, coriander, cumin, and some of that tomato paste, as well as some salt. And I always use the Maggi, or is it Maggi, I don't know how to say it, chicken stock. So here are all the spices going in. We don't measure anything, so we just eyeball it. So just figure out how much meat you have and just add as you please. So whilst he's stirring this up and letting the spices cook in the meat, I'm going to go ahead and check on my onions for the curry because I find it really hard to multitask as it is, hence why I always ask for help, because when I'm doing one thing I will definitely let the other thing burn. So he's using this tomato and grilled pepper sauce from Aldi, which is so delicious, by the way. If you've never used it with just some plain penne, definitely do so, but he uses it in his lasagna sauce. And by the way, all we've done is put the lid on that for about 5 or 10 minutes, shall I say, as you can see here. Close the lid on it and the lasagna sauce is cooked, and we garnished it with coriander and it was done. I'm going to move on to my curry that keeps starting and stopping. I've added in some garlic and fresh ginger. So I've made a lot of garlic and ginger and I just use it in different dishes. Once again, that's a hack. Just chop up a lot of everything. And now I'm going to mix my spices for the peanut butter chicken curry. I'm using paprika, coriander powder, I believe. We'll leave the spices linked below if you want to see. And I've also used some of that Maggi chicken stock. I love that as a salt alternative, even though it's not that good for you. So I'm going to use half of this spice for marinating the chicken. So I'm only going to use half of the spice mix onto the chicken to marinate it, and the other half we'll reserve it to make a paste cooked on the pan before the chicken goes in. So we're going to leave about that much. Now I'm going to get my gloves because I don't like touching raw meat. I don't like spices getting into my nails. I'm going to add a bit of olive oil and mix it all up. Once it's all mixed up, I'll get a chicken stock cube and I'll put in some hot water in it once the kettle is boiled, and that will be my gravy rather than just adding hot water. So the remaining spices are going in now with the onions and garlic and ginger. I'm going to mix it up so that the spices cook a little bit. I'm going to add a tiny bit of kettle water because it was sticking into the pan. So instead of adding more oil, just add more water and it'll create this lovely thick paste. So I'm going to use some of the water to just add to the cube that you saw earlier. So this is the paste that I've created. Now everything is cooked, you can tell because the oil separates from the spices. And now I'm going to add the rest of the chicken pieces that I marinated earlier. I just left it for around 15 minutes. I'm going to mix it all up. You can leave the chicken marinating for 24 hours if you want more flavor, but I didn't have that much time, so I'm mixing in the stock, and then once the chicken is cooked and it has a nice color in it, I'm going to add it in. But here's Malik helping me, and Liana could not bear the thought of anyone else helping us other than her. Welcome to life with children. So I'm adding in the chicken stock. You can definitely add water, but don't do that. It's way more flavorful when you use the stock. I'm going to mix it all up together and add some peanut butter. I like using crunchy peanut butter, but you can definitely use a smooth. I just like the crunchy for the texture. It's so nice. And once it's all mixed up, it should turn into this lovely delicious sauce, and it goes lighter in color. It's so nice. So I just garnished it with some coriander and turned the cooker off. You can definitely add some potatoes. I've done that before. I've also added peppers before and sweet corn. So if you want to do that, go ahead. Once it's all cooled down, I'll store it in a container and I will just freeze it, and I will write down what dish it is so that I know what to pick up in the morning when we want to eat that for dinner that evening to just defrost on its own. Now we're moving on to marinating the chicken breast that I showed you guys earlier when I was piercing it with a fork. So I'm adding in some lemon, lots of lemon juice, add some Nando's peri-peri rub. I'm adding in a lot of this. You can use the other flavor, it comes in the mild. I did want the kids to be able to eat this, so I'm adding in the lemon and herb one, and then I'm adding in this Cajun spice thing that comes with a bag. You can definitely use for chicken legs, but I thought I'd just use it for this because it's very tasty. And then I'm going to mix it all up together, and once it's all mixed up, I'm going to leave it to marinate for around an hour in the fridge whilst I get on with other things. So once the hour was up, this is what it looked like, and I forgot to add the garlic, so here I am adding the garlic very late, but it doesn't matter. This is how I like to cook it. I just lightly put some oil onto the pan, and this is what it ends up looking like. So nice, honestly. Way better than any takeaways I've ever had. So once I finish cooking the first batch, I have to wash the pan and then add the oil again and do it all over again. Otherwise it just doesn't taste that good. So that's the chicken done, and my husband actually made this other chicken himself. It's just a peri-peri one, a spicier version, so that he can have it at hand for fillings if he wants to have it for sahur. Now we're moving on to making the bechamel sauce for the lasagna, and we have our little helper here. She's adding in lots of butter and flour everywhere. I'm not going to show you how to make that because it's so easy. I will leave a link below to a video that makes it exactly the way I do it. So I like to make lots of lasagnas in these little takeaway tins and freeze it. Whenever I can't be bothered to make dinner for the kids, I just take one out and put it in the oven, and the dinner's ready without me having to cook anything. And add a layer of the tomato sauce, a layer of the bechamel sauce, and add in my lasagna sheets. I like to use the fresh ones. They're so much better, honestly. I feel like they cook a lot faster and you can cut it. Then I'm making another one. So this one I'm gonna make in one of those IKEA see-through containers that has a lid that you can put into the fridge or freezer, and then you can take it out, take the lid off, and then bung it straight into the oven with the glass. What is that called? I don't even know what it's called. But anyway, this is the last lasagna I'm making. I couldn't find my lid, so I just covered it with cling film and I put it in the freezer, and that is my second lasagna done. Now we're going to move on to making some chapli kebabs, and I was inspired to make this by a video I saw on YouTube, and I'll probably link that video below so you guys can follow it. But all I've done is added in some onions, a bunch of garlic and coriander and green chilies. I mixed that all up in my little blender, and once it was blended up, this is what it ended up looking like. And then I've also chopped up some tomatoes. In this bowl I have some mutton and lamb. I'm adding in the blended onion, garlic, coriander, green chilies, and my husband's just going to mix it all up. Like I said, I don't like touching meat even with the gloves. If I can have someone else do it, I'm taking that option. So I'm adding in some chapli kebab mix. This is the mix that I'm using right here. I'm going to add in a few teaspoons of the chicken stock as a salt alternative, and we realized that the bowl wasn't big enough, so we just went and got a bigger one. He added in some garam masala, some coriander powder, mixed all of that in, and Liana wanted to join in, so that's the blue gloves that you see. She is mixing that up, and yeah, so yeah, she is helping out as always. We have 1 egg go in, and obviously you're gonna add in more eggs if you're making more, but we weren't making that much, so he's gonna mix all of that up together, and we're gonna store some in one of these freezer bags and just flatten it down so that it is thin enough to go in the freezer, and you'll have loads of space left, just like that. And with the rest of them, we turned them into burgers. So this is the size that we went for, and then I use cling film to just wrap it all up together. I would usually use baking sheet and cut them into squares so that they don't stick together, but this is what I do when I don't have my baking sheet. So that is all of the burgers that we got out of that meat. And now we're making some samosas. This is the best samosa filling I've ever made because I've tasted them today. So we just have some lamb, onions, green chilies. I've also blended up some garlic and ginger together and added it in there. So once it's all mixed up, I'm adding in some garam masala, coriander powder. I've also added in some cumin seeds, a bit of chili powder, and a cinnamon stick. What else have I added in here? Maggi seasoning, and that's about it. So here I'm just adding in this lemon pickle into a blender. This lemon pickle makes this dish, honestly, it is so life-changing. So I've definitely lost some clips. I've just added in some peas, some potatoes, mixed it all up together, and that is your samosa filling done. And for the dough, I didn't show you guys, but I will leave a video linked below of how I made it. This is how it ended up looking like. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know, and if you're going to try anything from the video, do let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.